Worst one you had before the month. You had your technical issues, and then
That's
since
right.
then,
Yeah, but the month itself was
been,
shorter
and it's
than
just
other
been away.
months.
Guys, we're totally
Of
live.
course, exactly.
Well, remember though.
Yeah, we know. We know.
Okay, cool. Just a little bit of
What
the
should we
pre-show
remember? I've
chatter.
forgotten.
This is the fun stuff we talk
Yeah,
about the show,
whatever.
how long months are.
Yep.
Yeah.
How
It's important.
do we do this? Do I go
You
first?
start, and yep,
Yeah.
and you say this is Literary Roadhouse.
Yeah.
This
Right. That's the one.
once. And I'm Andy.
This is Literary Roadhouse. And we read one short story once a week. That's what we do
Do it
here.
again. I'm gonna hate editing this.
All right. All right, hold on. Okay, now we're live. We are live. This is Literary Roadhouse. One short story once a week. I'm Andy.
I'm an ace.
And I'm Gerald.
Gerald's British.
Yeah, that's why he can't say things with
You can tell.
enthusiasm. Yeah.
Oh, man. Hey, this week, what did we read? We read A Lot of Things Have Happened by Adam Levin. Man, this story opens with this really cool anecdote about a guy who has to murder a rat, and he makes a real funny Godfather joke. And then, surprise, it turns out that's not our main character. And then the story switches into first person, where we follow the adventures of this fucking schmuck named Adam Levin, which is coincidentally the same name as the author. And what does Adam do? He makes a lot of bad decisions and has to deal with sort of the normal and natural consequences of his bad decisions. Right? Gets into a romantic relationship with someone during his MFA program. They stay together for a while and break up. He's afraid of a mouse. So cool. Forfeits his security deposit on his teacher's assistant salary. That's a bad idea. That was stupid, Adam. Makes fun of some girl in one of his workshops who writes an autobiographical story. Oh, you see, he's writing an autobiographical story. Oh, look at that. Makes some guy write a fake apology.
Yeah.
Then finds out his friend and former girlfriend's sister died several years ago and doesn't say anything. And then the worst decision of his life, moves from Chicago to Gainesville, Florida during the Trump administration.
Okay, but his wife got a job. It's so hard to get professor jobs.
Yes, I know. It's incredibly hard to get professor jobs. That's why she should do something else. Do anything else instead of moving from Chicago to Gainesville. That's the only thing in the world worse than moving, for instance, from New York to Lansing.
All right. Okay, that's getting real personal over here.
It's a terrible decision.
I'm happy with it.
No, I mean, Adam, it's a worse decision than yours even.
Yeah.
So his wife should not be a professor. She should do something else. Anything else with her life is better than moving to Florida. Gainesville, Florida, of all things. Nope. And then, there's a global pandemic, and then they have all this, we're in this store in Florida. First off, you're in a store in Florida. Why didn't you just get fucking curbside delivery from your grocery store if you're that worried about people?
I feel like you're not summarizing the story.
If you're that worried about people in Florida in public, don't go into the fucking grocery store. They have curbside delivery. Fucking. And then, like, he has a stupid dinner party full of jerks. He sends an awful email to his friend about a gross roach he stepped on, and he's an idiot and doesn't know how to kill a roach. And his friend's like, yeah, my sister died and you're a dick. And yeah, that's correct. He's a dick. And then he's got a stupid face. That's canonically established. Everyone hates a stupid face. And then his dinner party sucks, and his parrot mauls itself in order to take care of its own needs because Adam's too selfish. The end.
Well, that's it then. That's a wrap. Well done, Andy.
Fucking
Thank you.
story.
Great job. Quick, tight. All right. I feel like he didn't. You said that he made a series of bad decisions. I feel like he made very few decisions throughout this story, and things
But
mostly
all of them
happened
were
to him.
bad. No, he's got a lot more agency than that.
I feel like he he can't even choose a cantaloupe. All right, like
Yeah, he decided not to be able to choose a cantaloupe. First
he
off,
also has like
he
learned
should have just
helplessness.
gotten curbside delivery of cantaloupes.
He also has this like learned helplessness because like his wife can just handle
Yes.
stuff for him, which is very annoying. Like, oh, I do the produce because I get confused by shelves. Anyway, I really dislike this man.
Yeah. No, he's awful. He's an awful person.
All right, but let's discuss the story.
It's a story about an awful person.
Well, but we've read stories about awful people and don't necessarily hate them. So, Gerald, what did you think of this story?
Hey, hello. I mean, I think the individual little anecdotes are quite interesting. The first one, I was quite sort of, I had reasonably high hopes. I thought this is, I don't like it's killing a rat, and that's a bit distasteful. And the stuff about the giant roaches was a bit distasteful too. I'm not into that. But as far as a little vignette, the first bit, the first page, oh, that's quite good. Yeah, nicely written. And the second one is just another vignette, and the third one was just another vignette. And I just thought, and so yes, you get through to the end, and you think, well, where did that lead? It didn't lead anywhere. And I call me old-fashioned, but I like stories to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And this just sort of started and then carried on, and then it says the end. Or it doesn't even say that. So I don't. And calling your main character your own name, that's just a bit weird. It's just is it
most of it is autobiographical.
Well, it sort of isn't. If you read the interview with him, it's. The first, he says, with this particular story, the first thing I did was write a handful of fictional, largely disconnected first-person anecdotes, as sparsely, as impactfully, and comically as I could. Comedy, yeah. So it doesn't refer to himself as. It's not really. It talks about being fascinated by couples, and then talks about the parrot, and that's it. So. So it's yes. I mean, you would assume that there is an element of real life within these stories, but make it a sort of memoir type thing if you're going to use your own name, or there's plenty of names. The names you can think of different names. I just it just sort of grates on me, and I didn't. And
what about when he put a hat on it and made it about the girl from his workshop? Doesn't that make it better or worse? One of those?
No, I just find myself being annoyed by him. He's just an idiot, and I don't like him. And I don't find much to like about whatever this thing is, this quotes story. Yeah, that's what I felt about it.
Yeah, I think in the absence of a plot, the only thing we have is the sort of thematic through line and like the emotional resonances between the vignettes. But the thematic through line is that Adam Levin's a dick. And if that's the only thing to hang my hat on, I'm like, well, then I don't care. You can have an unlikable character as your main character, but like, then give me something else, right? Give me something else to follow. The only thing I think what a dick he is.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to have your main character as a dick, he has to have some redeemable qualities somewhere, some redeeming features, or a bit of light and shade. It's when it's just sort of being an idiot and then being an idiot and being a stupid idiot and then being an idiot again. You just think, oh, this isn't a very enlightening story.
I liked the first bit with the rat.
So unease.
Like that was well written and
didn't
clever
like
and
that,
funny
man.
and punchy. Like, yeah, sure, you know,
I get it.
killing a rat in a toilet's a little gross, but
It's gross. No, and I take your point. I agree with you that actually it was, yeah, it was very well written, which is why I thought, oh, this is, you know, I don't like what's going on, but I can see what he's doing, and I can, you know, it's very visceral. It's very well drawn, as they say. So yeah, I could quite see that as being sort of interesting and a sort of interesting opening, but then it just same old.
Yeah,
Come
I
on,
thought it was
Anise.
like,
You said you've
yeah. Well, I want to start with the positive because it's been like overwhelmingly super negative, and there is a lot of positive, but then I have a theory on why it's hard to like. So I thought the prose was very, very sharp. And actually funny. Like I liked every single vignette, even when I was hating the character, right? Like I loved the opening story when Sarah thinks that Darren's having a stroke, and there's that line, everything's going to be hard from now on. That fear was such a efficient way to capture that fear that we all have to some extent. I love the introduction of Hattie Grant, where self-esteem was written as self of steam, and that wasn't even the punchline. The punchline was plagiarism. I thought that was brilliant. I love that whole paragraph. I just it was funny. Like he was trying to be funny, and he succeeded at it often, even when you kind of hated him, like when he's in the supermarket feeling morally superior to people for being effectively Floridians. Like that's basically what it is.
what a low bar, right? He's feeling morally superior to Floridians in a
Right.
Publix.
And this is a man who was like confused by shelves, and you know, like okay, right? But it's not just him, right? Like he very deftly touches on the sort of moral positioning that like that culturally the left and right have in the US, right? Because then that guy starts singing the Otis Redding song, but he's not wearing a mask correctly. So therefore, normally you'd like it, but you can't now because he's not wearing a mask. And then some old lady who I guess is wearing a mask is like, fuck him. Like, and that's funny. She's like,
the old lady's great.
Yeah, she's like, he'll die and then we win or whatever. You know, so like I thought it was really entertaining in that sense. And thematically, the way that you leapt from one vignette to the other, the transitions, while they weren't explicit, you see what they are. You see why what happened here made him think of this other one. And this is sort of like reflective way. And I thought that actually was clever because you don't actually get lost as a reader, which is a hard thing to do when you're telling this nonlinear story. You don't get lost. You know what's happening. You know who's who. I think the reason why it's so hard to like it is because, and he says it, right? There's that girl in his workshop who writes this autobiographical story, and everyone's just like rolling their eyes at it a little bit because it feels self-indulgent and like it's not really for the reader. And this one is even more annoying because instead of like processing a trauma, which is what he critiques the student in his class, he's being self-deprecating in a way that feels insincere. Like he's like, I know I'm a piece of shit. And therefore, just because he's being self-deprecating, you're supposed to be like, you're all right, guy, because you made some good jokes. And I think we don't want to give it to him because he doesn't experience growth throughout the story. Like your self-deprecation and just the fact that you made me chuckle a few times is not enough for me to like you. Plus it's autobiographical. Ugh. Like I think that's where the revulsion's coming in. That's my theory. That's my working theory.
Good point.
Yeah, I like that because obviously,
I
think I could say Adam Levin's a pretty great writer.
Mm-hmm.
But like, fuck him. Based on this, I don't know. I read like some of the blurbs on some of his novels, and like, actually, they'll sound neat. Maybe I want to read them. But like, based on this short story, fuck him. He deserves Florida.
I feel we shouldn't. Also, I don't think he's in Florida, but he did marry a French woman. I was just Googling that. I was like, wait, but is his wife actually French? Yes.
He's in Florida.
Oh, he is?
He's actually in Florida. He actually, in real human life, moved from Chicago to Florida. So
I was reading a Chicago Tribune interview with his wife. It's like how in 2012, after they got married, they moved to Chicago. And I'm like, this is very autobiographical. Guy who in the interview says it's not.
Yeah.
You just changed her name. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know who Hattie Grant is and what she thinks of the story. Anyway, like in real life.
Right. She's some real person he was a dick to. I don't know.
Although honestly, I'm side-eyeing Hattie. I want to get to more like discussing the craft stuff, but like as a character, people like Hattie exhaust me a little bit. Bruh, if I dated you for 9 months 10 years ago and I didn't call you to console you about a dead sibling, you shouldn't be holding that against me. Like, oh, I feel like it's a lot. Like it's like somebody who just like, to me, it's a person who lives with a ledger of slights. And I know people like this and they're exhausting. Like all they do is just like, who slighted me? And they just keep track of it and like hold grudges. Yeah, I was not a fan of Hattie.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to talk to her for another. He doesn't have to talk to her for another 10 years, so that's all right.
Well, he shouldn't have sent her an email that was basically this short story, a whole bunch of funny vignettes that are self-deprecating, hoping that she'll forgive him with no actual growth. Same thing. It's very meta. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is why, if you're going to write something autobiographical and sort of navel-gazing, if you just want to be like dwelling on who you are as a person, you have to make it plausibly fiction so that people don't just resent you for being like, don't make me like you when you didn't actually grow. Yeah. Or don't try. And like, if this was like, if he had like, I was just gonna say, if he had like dressed this up in like a fictional story of like some husband in the 1960s, it would be like, ah, yes, kind of like a Raymond Carver story, right? Like, just his biggest mistake was making it him.
His biggest mistake was moving to Florida. Zing!
Oh my god! I do want to read his novels, though. I'm pretty sure he doesn't like. They do sound good. His writing is very good. Yeah. Anyway, go on, Gerald.
Yes. Bango, Florida listeners. Anyway, who cares about them?
My parents, though. They're in Florida.
Yeah. Hey. I forgot what I was going to say now. Oh yeah, about this email to Hattie, and he knows that he hasn't kept in touch, and she lost her sister, and he said, Hattie Grant! Exclamation mark! It's been forever. How's Vancouver? How's poetry? How's the whole thing? Whoa. That's a bit of a pathetic thing. He should have opened up saying, I'm really sorry I heard about your sister. Sorry I haven't been in touch. That sort of thing. I should have still sent that shitty little response, but at least he wouldn't have been such a dick. I don't know. There's so many great pieces of writing, so many good little bits, and I started highlighting them. Then because I was starting to dislike the story, I stopped highlighting them because I thought, no, I'm not going to highlight stuff for you. You do, but
it doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, and it's. There's a bit where Darren says, "I've no idea," when he was talking about whether he should contact Hattie or not. I've no idea what you should do, but you can't do what I do. Even if we stood in identical relation to Hattie, I've got a more relaxed, friendlier demeanour than you. People have a far easier time believing that my interpersonal blunders owe to innocent mistakes or absent-mindedness. Everything you do is presumed deliberate. Probably that owes to your mean fucking face. That's a great little bit. I think the dislike of the thing. I'm going to refuse to call it a story. I think a dislike of the thing is partially because it could have been so good. It could have, he could have woven a story around something. But instead, he did a righty thing as I'm just going to write this little anecdote. I'm going to write this other little anecdote. And he got all these little anecdotes and he go, bosh. How can I just trowel some cement over them to smooth them out? And there you go. There's a short story. And if it had started off at the beginning saying, hey, I'm a writer, I'm going to write a short story about this guy, then he could have, woven it better, I feel. So it's kind of frustrating that he's obviously so competent.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe. Sorry. I thought you were done.
No, I'm done. I'm done.
Okay. I feel like the dislikability part was on purpose, though. Like that was his intention, was making this shitty. Like, so I don't know. What a bad intention. Like, have better intentions. Do better things with your choices. Like you accomplished your goal here, but like, what a terrible goal. What a
No,
what
I
a
feel like he
terrible
didn't
end
accomplish
to
his
end your
goal,
story
right?
to.
Like back to my point, I feel like yes, he is intentionally creating this kind of this unlikable character, and he's doing it in this self-deprecating way that feels insincere. Like you don't think, you know what I'm saying? Like you're like, no, you actually think you're the bee's knees. Like there's this self-deprecation, and just like the fact that you're like kind of charming, it's supposed to be enough to redeem you. I think that's what we can smell, and we're like, ugh.
See, I think he's doing even that on purpose. Like that was the feedback given to the autobiographical story in his workshop. I think he's on purpose made this false self-deprecation that makes me hate it. Like I think he wants me to hate him.
No, because I don't think that was the feedback that he gave to the workshop. Because the criticism of the workshop writer was that she was processing a trauma and trying to educate the reader. So, in other words, like trying to teach people about like bulimia, domestic abuse, blah blah blah. That was over the head. He's not doing that, right? Like I think they're doing slightly different things.
Yeah.
But he still knows he's being self-indulgent in the same way she was, even if it's for different reasons. So that's why that's there.
I think he wants me to hate him.
Well, and he did a great job, and you should give this a 6.
I know, but what a bad goal, Adam. We could have been friends.
I think he wants you to like him. And
No, he wants me to hate him for some reason.
I think
Probably
he thinks he's the
because
most
it's easier to
likable person.
maintain
But
enemies
pretends he is
friends.
insincerely.
So now he can have a big list of enemies, and that makes him important.
Oh. So when you contact him and say, I read your story, he's going to say, ha, you could have read that 10 years ago and you didn't contact me. That'll be even. See, that could be true or not.
We could have been friends, Adam.
I don't know. It's just, it's not a story. There's no growth. There's no development. There's no, it's a series of anecdotes which are, well written and in places mildly amusing. And so what?
I'm continue to be resentful of the Darren for Adam swap. Like, man, the story about Darren I thought I was getting was off to a great start. It was going to be real interesting. And then he was gone.
Yeah, Darren is more likable.
It is kind of weird. Yeah, it's kind of weird to start off your short story with someone other than your main character and writing about a character who isn't your main character. That's a bit.
Well, I mean, it is in first person. I don't know why you think that it didn't. It's just he's describing it very much from his point of view, and it's like Sarah's. It's in the middle. Right, it's medium res. It's Sarah telling the story.
It's in first person till like 2 or 3 paragraphs in.
Right, but it's like when
talking about Darren, and so you're like, oh, it's in the third person. Like, no, it's not. Oh,
yeah,
some other dick is gonna pop up.
Yeah, because then he's saying, so a frisbee. He has Sarah, and I said, like he has Sarah continue to speak. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you want to say? I made my main point, which is I think it's actually extremely well written, but you don't get off the hook just for being cute.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah. And yeah, whatever.
You can't bend great talents to evil ends and expect the talents to redeem you. No, Adam, have better.
You're not going to let this go, are you, Andy? You're not going to let this go.
No, everything about this seems like it was something I was going to like, and then it was specifically crafted to make me hate him.
I feel like we need to read
Adam, the character, but Adam, the person, real Adam. I don't know. I don't like him now, but I feel like I should have.
I want to read his books now, and then we'd probably love it. I bet you'd love it.
I bet I would too, but I'm going to hate him now forever because of this. I might like his books.
Don't be like Hattie holding grudges in a ledger of slights.
He did this on purpose, though. He wrote this on purpose.
Well, then he accomplished his goal. So
I know it was a bad goal.
All right. So what are we going to rate?
Going back. Oh, rating? Oh, geez.
Yeah. I don't know what my rating is actually.
I'll go first.
3.
I was going to give it. Yeah, I won't go first then. We're on some kind of delay here, by the way. That's why I keep
sorry.
talking over you.
Yeah, we have.
But
It's
I love you.
because of the time zone changed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm an hour in the past, future. I don't even know which way.
No, I don't know.
I was gonna give it a 1, but I think I'm gonna give it a 4 because it's really good. But like, fuck Adam Levin.
Yeah, I don't know what to give it either. I think a 4. It is good. Like you don't
Really
hate
good.
reading it until you get to the end and you're just like, no, I don't like you. Like
And it's not a story. It's not a story. I don't know. I don't know. It's meant to be a short. It's meant to be a short story. It's meant to, that's what they call it. It's a short story, and it ain't.
It ain't.
So,
which is to say, it isn't.
it is,
His
but I'm more
story-
flexible on what a short story is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a
Well-
4.5. There we go.
Oh, come on. Get out of here.
I'm giving
It is-
Adam Levin as a person a 1.
No, because I'm trying not to hold people to their worst mistakes. So this is for my personal journey.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
4.5.
Yeah, you had just come back from Florida.
If he hadn't made
Okay.
the character Adam Levin, maybe even a 5, you know?
Yeah, right. Right. This was a story
Yeah.
about Joe Tommy Bone. That's what
Joe
generic
Tommy
names are.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Who knows? Yeah, I'd have read that. I'd have liked that. Joe Tommy Bone.
All right. So next week we are reading A Witch's Guide to Escape, a practical compendium of portal fantasies by Alex E. Harrow. Gerald's already upset that because it's another like vignette-esque kind of story. So he's already not having it. But it was recommended by a listener
I
who said
just
it was
gave
very
it the
good.
side eye. Okay.
It's true. It was a side.
I gave it the side eye because I'm suspicious of it. That's all.
Okay.
Hang on. Go on.
Another piecemeal story. All right.
Just to annoy me.
But before you go, share your thinly veiled autobiographical fiction in our Facebook discussion group, the Literary Roadhouse Readers. And there is one place where plagiarism is totally fine, and that's in iTunes reviews. Leave a comment, and you don't even have to spend much time thinking about it. And it helps other literary lovers find us too. And contribute to our podcast expenses at patreon.com/literary roadhouse. Every bit helps. And as always, share this podcast with the man singing Otis Redding near the snack cakes in your supermarket. Until next time, read a good story.